Hi, my name is Stephanie Padilla, and I just finished college. To be more specific, I graduated with a 3.6 GPA, double major, dean's list, a few scholarships, a highly prestigious fellowship, and I just presented my project at Stanford. Yet, I don't know anything about life, but if I do know one thing, is that I want to become an actor.
I don't know if it sounds bizarre, but I was born knowing what I wanted to do. My whole life, I wanted to practice the craft of acting without knowing what it was worth. I didn't have any money, support, nor friends in my childhood, but if I did have one thing, it was a dream. When I was 14, I went against my parents' will and I joined the drama club, and it felt like I had finally found a place to call my own. When I performed a silly little tongue twister in front of the whole class, it was like a fire ignited so bright that it showed a way out of a deep cave. Of course, I didn't know how fires could burn. One of our most successful guest speakers in our class told us, "Don't do it, don't go into acting." It's kind of funny how the human mind can hear the worst things from authority, yet is so willing to show itself in the world, only hoping to prove to be something special. In the summer between high school and college, I set up these glamorized goals for myself. Not only was I going to audition for everything my campus had to offer, but I was going to get every single female lead that there was. I was going to be the golden it girl. And I made it my plan to graduate in 3 years. College was going to be the time of my life. 5 years later, none of that happened. I auditioned for lots of things, actually. However, I was never what they were looking for. I altered my method of preparing for an audition, still wasn't it. Took some acting classes, wasn't it. Looked at myself on camera for once and decided I needed to lose weight so it could be more appealing for the camera. And 30 pounds later, I was not it. I was hardly ever it. It made me question if everyone was right. Perhaps the metaphysical feeling telling me to become an actor was nothing but an imaginative voice that was there to entertain my lonely childhood. Perhaps I should have listened to my parents to become a lawyer, or at least these are the thoughts that occur in my most rational parts of my brain. However, in my hearts of hearts, there is a strong will that is willing to grow through another cycle that seemingly rejects me if it means that perhaps one day I'll get to do the things that I love. And that's where I stand by today.
As a struggling actor heading into the real world, I need to know, why am I so glued onto an identity that seemingly isn't rational, meaning that it's not beneficial? I noticed as I moved on with my acting career that these issues aren't really limited with me. However, they're pretty much a shared experience with other actors that I know, including my actor friends and my mentors. In fact, thousands of actors move to LA and to New York every single year, yet there's a slim chance of us to really make it. In fact, a mathematician suggests that there's only a 0.000086% chance of anyone to really make it big, yet we all do it anyways. In a survey that I conducted, 100% of actors said that they valued being an actor, and 70% said that they strongly valued their acting career. Yet, 95% of actors claim that they are not able to make an income solely off of acting. However, 65% of actors said that they made a drastic lifestyle change or a life sacrifice in order for them to continue on with their acting career. So, what is it with this phenomenon? Why are so many people pursuing something that they know isn't gonna seemingly serve them in the long run? In order to explain this phenomenon, I decided to look at identity. What is identity? What makes you, you? It's important to note that there are many different definitions of identity, two of them being the psychological and the sociological definition. According to psychology, an identity is a set of personality traits. For example, think about someone being really charismatic, really funny, you could be really pretty, attractive, whatever the case may be. The sociological definition is a little bit different, as we define identity by a role. A role is simply a structural position that is held by society. It might be very easy to overthink, however, you have a role. Many other people around you have a role. You could be a mother, a student, a football player, even an employee, and those are some examples of a role that you might have. It's important to note that according to social scientists, these identities need verification in order for it to proceed. We need to see some way that we are fulfilling these roles in order for their survival. If we take a closer look into the Stensenberg's identity model, which is a model that has to do with the identity verification process, it might be very easy to get overwhelmed. However, I can assure you that this process more than often happens within a span of a few seconds, and it happens in your everyday life, albeit unsubconsciously. So let's go ahead and start off at identity standard. Identity standard is where we define what a role means to you. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example from Elle from Legally Blondes. Elle believes she is Warner's lover, therefore she believes her relationship is going to be taken to a next level, as in she's going to get engaged. She thought that she was fiancé material as she is confident, vibrant, and optimistic. This is her identity standard for being Warner's lover. For the sake of simplicity, the meaning of the situation is simply an interaction that serves to verify an identity. If we take a closer look at the dinner scene between Elle and Warner, you'll notice that this scene isn't just a date between the two, however the night serves as a point of verification for Elle, as Elle believes that Warner is going to propose to her any minute. Unfortunately for Elle, the opposite actually occurs. She gets broken up with, what we call a disturbance in the model, meaning that her identity as a girlfriend has been left unverified. Reflected appraisals is when we look at other people's reaction as a reflection of ourselves. We look at how other people perceive us and what that means for our identity. When Warner broke up with Elle, it signaled to Elle that she was not a good lover to him, therefore causing for a negative reaction. Perceptions are how we evaluate the situation. It is essentially what we believe to have just happened. Elle did not perceive her breakup situation dinner all that well, as she's been crying over the event a week later. Ultimately, we are brought back to identity standard, but this time with a comparator. If people view us the way that we want to be seen, we are greeted by a boost in self-esteem and a rise in positive emotions. However, if we realize that people don't see us the way that we view ourselves, it results in typically a decrease in self-esteem and a spew of negative emotions. You may notice that the acting identity is actually pretty unique, as in we directly go into a room and we directly ask people how they perceive us and whether or not we are right for the role, or whether or not we are good enough for the role, or however anyone would like to think about it. Acting is such a weird, unique identity to have, and it's definitely not really rational, as the majority of actors typically aren't able to financially sustain themselves through acting, and nonetheless, it's also emotionally taxing. And this only asks the question: if an actor's identity is constantly left unverified, as in the casting process so incredibly competitive, why is it that for actors, their acting identity is typically the most prominent and probably the most salient thing that there is to them? So in order to explain this phenomenon, I decided to survey and interview a variety of actors.
My name is Bella Merlin.
So my name is Wyatt Dean Kelly.
My name is Miles Anderson.
My name is Lolly Foy.
My name is Ryan Winkles.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Guerrero.
My name is Chi Duong.
My name is Gregory Boover.
From doing all these interviews, I find it incredibly interesting how almost all of us actors are going through a similar journey that I'm currently going through right now. As in, seemingly, we put more importance into auditioning and casting in our earlier parts of our career.
Yeah, and I have. You know, it's a really tough, it's anything that you're doing where you're freelancing, where there's not that steady paycheck coming in, it's terrifying. There's that thing of, this could be my last show. This could be my last film. You know, so you better enjoy it because the next one isn't promised. And, you know, you watch even the most successful actors' careers and they have lulls in their career where, you know, there may be years where they're not cast in something.
Mentally, I've struggled, but not in terms of like keeping my career. More so like, you know, in the beginning, going to all these things and having such a passion for acting and wanting it to happen, you know, like I really was like, I really want to book something. Like I was just so invested in booking something that it was upsetting to go to like audition after audition after audition and like not get anything, even though like I'm doing like my best.
Ultimately, what ended up happening, or at least just the people that I interviewed, is that they stopped putting as much importance into auditioning and casting, and they started to put more importance and emphasis over other aspects.
But you just don't give up. You keep doing the work. You keep, you know, being a good human being and doing what you do, and then something's going to open up. You know,
as I, you know, got through that and got older and more experienced as an actor and just kind of understanding like that's just kind of how the industry is, you know. Like, you know, it could be a million no's before you get a yes, you know, you never know. So once I got like internalized that and became okay with that, then things started really being a lot easier mentally. Because yeah, it was definitely hard in the beginning.
Arguably, one of the most important things that I discovered from doing these interviews is that
Actors tend to put less importance into the term actor and put more prominence into other identities that they have.
So I feel a bit more comfortable with the term storyteller.
Rather than defining myself as an actor first, I'm describing myself as a theater maker first.
So I wouldn't even put it as like a label as like an actor identity, but more so like a creative outlet identity.
Yes, in fact, I probably identify more as an artist than I do an actor.
If I had to explain a reason for this, I would have to tie it back to the Steps and Brooks identity model, making the model somewhat fairly accurate. The reason for this being is because since the acting identity is so hard to verify, as in casting a role or even booking a role are so incredibly slim, it's more rational for the actor to simply decrease the prominence or the importance in it, therefore giving more prominence into other identities that they may have. Granted, these identities are all creative based and are very similar to acting, however not quite, as in these terms are self-defining, therefore allowing for the individual to create what success means for them. These roles are self-verifying. It's important to note that although these actors have admitted to the term actor not being as important as it used to be, it's still one of the most important things to them.
It's the only thing that I find myself in like truly being committed to.
I've been with it for so long, it's the most important thing, I think, and I'll always put off, I'll always put off a birthday party or an anniversary or something like that. If there's an audition or I'm meant to be doing a job, it always takes precedence. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid I will put any kind of holiday aside if I think there's going to be some acting coming on. So,
because it really does define who I am. It's one of those things that if I'm not doing it, I eventually become very depressed and very miserable.
Additionally, the actors that I interviewed have taken or taught acting classes. Some even go as far as to participate in things behind the stage or behind the scenes. So inadvertently, they're fulfilling the acting identity without the need of auditioning or getting cast.
Currently, I'm a second year at UCR, TFDP major with concentration writing in the performing arts, and I still do acting.
Since quarantine started, I try to take at least one acting class per quarter.
I taught last year in 2020, the spring semester when everything went haywire.
I believe these interviews are of great value, especially to actors such as myself who are trying to break into this industry and are really quick to discover how incredibly hard it is to get cast, and also how this career is more than often thankless. With that being said, it's important to note that we're living in this incredible era, or in this incredible age, where we have things such as social media, including YouTube and TikTok, that really puts power back into the actor's hands. We gain more autonomy this way. The reason being is because we're able to upload and create our own content, and we don't necessarily have to wait around for someone to cast us or to find someone who's in need of an actor. You may notice that there's a new trend among well-established actors, such as Will Smith or even Jack Black, and having their own YouTube channel. And I can guarantee you, in the time to come, there's only going to be even more actors on there. Perhaps it's going to be a new thing among well-established actors to have their own channels, or even just to simply create their own content. So to the other actors who have a similar drive to me, who also aspire to be an actor, however, they were quick to note that this career is incredibly discouraging, I urge you to please continue on having faith, as I can assure your time will come. As many of my other interviews have mentioned, they mentioned that they all had a similar experience, yet they always end up getting cast, albeit whether it be in a span of a few no's or a lot of no's. There's always going to be a role that's meant for you, and until that time comes, find something else that you love doing. So with that being said, I shall do the same. I will continue to keep up my head high, and I'll continue pursuing in this career. However, at the same time, I know not to put all my identity based on this single thing. Alright, toodaloo.